Hey everybody, Alex Miller Academy here. Today I want to talk about ZIRP, or zero interest rate policy, something the Fed is no longer doing that it did for a number of years, as a cultural phenomenon in addition to a financial one. So in this video I'm going to cover what's happened from the monetary policy and financial standpoint. In the second half I'm going to point out some things that I think maybe actually flow from this culturally. And we're leaving the Zerg world, as I'll go into detail. I expect a lot of cultural stuff is going to change with it in a way that might be obvious 20 years from now. Entirely not obvious now. So just to get started, you got interest rates, you've got the time value of money. And a zero interest rate, of course, is I give you $1 and you just give it back. You didn't ask anything for borrowing my money. So normally, everyday people, sane people, think I should get something that you held on to my dollar for a while. And this is kind of why ZIRP is weird, and maybe weird stuff should be expected to flow from it, because over here we've got a financial thing. It's set up a particular way. The sort of facts of everyday life that are supposed to correspond to that thing, maybe they can't really correspond. That nobody's eager to give somebody $1 and only get 99 cents back tomorrow or something like that. But to rewind, the Federal Reserve sets this interest rate. You hear talked about all the time. It drives lots of the interest rates you encounter day to day. You can look at a really long-term trend going back to 1980 of the Fed is making this interest rate lower and lower, and then in order to stimulate the economy, of course, after the 2008 crisis, when the economy needed a lot of stimulating, this interest rate the Fed sets cratered to zero for a really long time. And this is kind of weird, as I have mentioned. So something that gets discussed a lot on LinkedIn is the startup world. There's a lot about the way the startup world looked and how it was booming 2008 through pandemic. It's very tempting to see, oh, those are actually the incentives that come from zero interest rate policy. And probably people weren't thinking that, but especially in its more excessive forms, the VC world is exactly, well, here we're just going to keep investing these big blocks of money and you're not making money now, but maybe in the distant future, you'll be super huge and it'll pay off. And this is exactly what you should expect from the ZIRP world. If interest rates were positive, people would have low risk, more straightforward investing opportunities. I give you $1, you give me $1.07 back a little bit later. And it looks a lot like the absence of options like that were what was driving more and more money over time into startups. And then there's a lot of culture that flows from, well, if we're handling the economy in this particular way, and a lot of the hot companies, this is a big part of people's life, what they do at work. A lot of the hot companies live in this particular kind of la-la land of there's no time value of money. That leaks into our regular society. I'm going to drop a bomb. I'm just going to say I bet Marvel Cinematic Universe is over on somehow. That was a creature of ZIRP. And that's just ridiculous. I have no evidence for that other than gut instinct. What I will say, I saw Elon Musk being salty about startup in the office hustle culture. And I couldn't help but notice that culture, which is maybe on the ropes now, not as popular as it used to be, not as celebrated as it used to be, is kind of like the ZIRP incentives, but people applying it to their time. And time, in a lot of ways, is money in that, okay, I'm eager to give up all my time today, even my time at night. I'm going to freeze my eggs because I'm going to give up having a family now. There's a lot of, oh yeah, well fuck now, the future. I want to talk about some crazy great stuff in the future and not I can incrementally improve my life day to day. I just buy a CD and I get a decent interest rate. So it's very tempting in this example. It just so happens that when ZERP ends, this culture around work that kind of looks like people internalizing ZERP incentives into how they manage their time is also suddenly in big trouble. And I would not be shocked if that culture was just over. And even though nobody changing how they feel, how they behave is thinking about interest rates, it's actually very profound how you value things now versus valuing them in the future. And that's exactly what interest rates are doing in the financial sphere. And I think these things leak into culture a lot more than